Right, welcome to our tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to draw some of these curves to create our plans for our houses that we're going to design. So we're basically going to be doing polylines, rectangle tools, trimming, offsetting curves, and a couple other things too. So this is one that's kind of in the work right now as an example. So I made this one. We used it for looking at doors, windows, sliding doors, pocket doors, stuff like that. So I'm just going to create a separate one up here so I can show you kind of how I created this simple blueprint. Alright, so I'm going to start off by just drawing the interior wall. So I'm just going to select the corner to start. And I'm going to make this just a really simple blueprint. It's not going to be really accurate. It's not going to have all the proper rooms, but I'm going to make it 20 feet by 30 feet. So this will be kind of representative of our where our exterior wall meets our interior wall. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to just offset this curve. So I like to just select the curve, go to help, type in offset, find the curve one, and we want to make sure that we're offsetting our exterior wall 0.85 feet. I already have it set up there in the distance right here. So we can do things in this direction or in this direction, but we're going to go towards the outside for this one. So that basically just matches the curve, makes it 0.85 feet larger in all directions. So kind of think of it as copying and pasting it and scaling it. Okay, so now we're going to add a couple rooms to this. I'm going to show you two ways to do it first. The first way will be using the rectangle tool. It's good because you can get some pretty precise measurements. So I'm going to use the 3-point tool. I'm going to start in the corner here, and I'm going to add a 12 by 12 room over here. Oh. 3-point tool. Sorry, let's try this one more time. Start there, type in 12, and we'll go 12 in this direction as well. Okay, so what we have right now is we have one square there, and we have another square on the outside. So we don't want these overlapping, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explode this first one using the explode tool down here, and that changes it from one curve into 4 separate curves. So I'm going to go around and delete those 2 that were overlapping, and I'm left with just these 2 curves down here. Okay, so another way we can draw it is just by drawing a polyline. It's pretty handy with this grid because this model I'm just going to be dealing in kind of 1 foot increments, and I can just easily count them out. So the way I have my grid set up right now is every one of these grid intersection points is 1 foot, and I also snap every quarter of a foot. So I'm going to go ahead and add a hallway here. And I'm going to go 2 feet past this 12-foot one. Alright, so essentially what I've done is I've created, right now, what's a 14 by 14 foot room down here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bathroom down here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll say this is going to be like a master bedroom. So I'm going to put a door over here in the future, and I'm going to put a closet over here and a bathroom over here. Okay, so I want to basically just draw a line from here to here. But as you can see, it's not snapping when I'm on the line here because the near tool is on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the near tool off so that my grid snap works. And I'm going to create a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foot by 6 foot room. So just by counting that out, I can see there. Okay, and this is going to be my bathroom. And I'm going to create 5 foot by 6 foot room, and this will be kind of a closet. I'm going to do one more just small partition wall up here, just so I can show you guys one more technique. So I'm going to put a 4-foot wall there. With a 2-foot wall there. Okay, so now the next step for me is going to be in a blueprint. We have to also represent the thickness of these interior partition walls. So that's the next thing we're going to do. And then we'll cut out all the door openings afterwards. So how we do that is we do the same thing. We use the offset curve tool. And we just select the curves we want to offset. And instead of 0.85 feet, we're going to make them 0.5 feet. And we're just going to offset all these curves. And I'm just going to join these two curves together so I can offset them in one step. Alright, so we got a little work to do, so we have to close these curves up here. So next thing I'm going to do is I have end and near on. So I'm going to go ahead and close these curves. Okay, so now we have all of our curves drawn that we're going to have for now, and they're all closed off. So the next thing that we have to do is I want to trim them so that they all appear open. So all these curves here, you can travel through them, and there isn't a close in the curve until you get to a door opening, essentially. So how we're going to do that is we're just going to go ahead and select. So first we're going to select our cutting tool, and we're going to select the cutting objects, and we're going to select everything. Press enter, and then we're just going to go around and select all the objects that we want to trim out. So this is by far the quickest way to trim all these objects out. Sometimes you might have a couple problems you have to go back and fix kind of manually afterwards, but this one seems to be going pretty straightforward. Oh, and I missed just one section right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix that up. Alright, so I got that cut out. And this is essentially all there is to drawing the interior partition walls, which are these 0.5 foot thick ones, and the exterior partition walls. In the other videos, we go over things like how to create openings. So if I wanted to create a 3-foot door over here, I could just draw a line there, count out my 3-foot opening, and then using the exact same tool, I'll select these two. I dragged it over with the mouse as you saw, but it didn't select this one and this one. So I'm going to go ahead and hold shift down and select this curve and this curve. Press enter, and I'm going to cut those out. I now have an opening here that I can later create a doorway on. So essentially that's all there is to creating these interior partitions and the exterior wall using the offset tool, the curve tools, the rectangle tools. One thing that really helps with using the rectangle tool is you get really specific measurements. So this one originally I made it 12 feet, but then I also had the 1/2 foot partition. So this one should be 11.5 feet by 11.5 feet. And I can check that with the dimension tool too. I'm just gonna go ahead and snap that there and there, and we have 11.5 feet.